I had seen the documentary Pervert Park. You had seen the documentary Pervert
Yes.
Park, which is about a mobile home park in Pinellas County, Florida, where sex offenders live because they cannot live by a school or where else?
The Florida state law, I believe it's like they can't be within like 300 yards of any children. So they're
Right.
they're right by an interstate behind a liquor store, and they all
Right.
just stick together right there.
So,
Some strict law in Florida
and
makes them.
if you watch a doc, which I've talked about before, it's everything from like true monsters, people that have done horrible things, to like a 18-year-old kid who like was talking to a woman online. She's like, "I'm gonna bring my 14-year-old daughter when I fuck you," and he doesn't say no. And then he shows up at the house, and the FBI's there. The cops are there.
It always starts with a chat room. I was in a
Yeah,
chat
it's
room.
just the FBI's bored and trapping Muslims with bombs, so now they're doing this. Imagine being in the FBI, by the way. Like, imagine being in the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I only know one person that tried to be in the FBI, and it was a person who's told me things about their own life that have shaken me to my core. Like, have made my skin crawl, like the things that they've been involved in. And they never got into the FBI, but they were, like, in contention. So that's just to give you an idea of the caliber of people in that institution. God help us. Not defending the people that do these horrible things, but there's also a lot of, like, whatever, confused kids and, and whatnot. So it's everybody in there. If you watch the doc, you know what I'm talking about. So me and Ben go, let's go there. Let's drive through it. We just want to feel it. Feel the energy, which was very dark. A lot of hookers walking around outside the park because hookers go in there and try to hit up the people that are living there. And the people that are living there just don't have cars. They barely have jobs.
Most are on house arrest, too.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, a lot. Ankle bracelets. They have to carry the thing on them.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the trailers are all from the 50s. They're old. It's bad. And the guy that ran the whole thing, I don't know if he does anymore, a guy named Don Sweeney, was like a really good dude who was like trying to help these people that no one would help. No one would help them. And try to figure out a way to keep them from offending again, right? And so we drove through it instead of going to a bar. You know what I mean? Or walking on the beach. And it's just funny because as you drive through it, you feel this very dark energy. Very sad. Not like LA dark where like people are plotting, or DC dark where people are plotting. Like when you're in DC and LA, you're like, something's going on here that I can only see the tip of the iceberg. There's other stuff happening. There's a whole subterranean. That's not what this feels like. This feels like just shattered lives. Because these people were also, many of them, raped at a very young age. Horrible shit. If you watch the doc, you see what I mean. And you feel that pain when you drive through it. Truly. You feel the pain. And it is very... It feels traumatic to just drive through it. And we drove through. There was a cop there. We pulled up to the cop. He didn't do anything. I don't know why he was there, but probably there all the time.
Yeah.
And could you describe the energy?
The one word that really describes it is heavy. Heavy
energy.
Heavy. And it's small, too. It's not a lot of people.
It's not big.
You can feel it.
It's not big. It's a very heavy energy. And it's also an energy where you go, oh, so many members of our political establishment should be living there. That's kind of what you take away from it.
Right.
You go, these people are just unlucky motherfuckers, and many of them monsters, and many of them, have serious fucking problems. But that also describes, I don't know, Congress, like a lot of the people in power that just end up. It's just so funny there's no middle ground. Like if you're a pedophile, you either live there or you live like in the White House. Yeah. Like there's no other.
Or you're Prince Andrew.
Yeah, you're Prince Andrew. It's Buckingham Palace or Pedophile Park outside Tampa. It's a real. But as I was driving through it, I was struck by, as a cynical person who's been to a lot of dark, sad, destroyed places, I was even like, wow, this is a lot. This is heavy. There's a weight to it. That's another word for it. There's a gravity to it. People whose lives are just permanently, and many of them for good reason. Again, this is not like I can't believe that. It just is what it is. And a lot of these people have done horrible things. This isn't like nonviolent drug offenders who like ended up in the system. There's some, there was one guy, well, I don't know if he was in the documentary, but there's just like one old guy who's like, yeah, I looked at some photos. Ain't nothing wrong with it. I enjoyed it. And the guy at 60 Minutes, a British guy, which, by the way, they did a whole special on this in 60 Minutes. The British guy, they should not let British people like do that because it's just the way they say, they're like, the Petersburg Park. Don't you understand why it's a problem? The guy's like, no, I just looked at photos. Ain't nothing wrong with it. I enjoyed it. Would you like us to blow your face out? No, I'm good. Just an old guy, like an 80-year-old proud pedophile. Like, who's that guy? Who's that guy who's just a proud pedophile? Just a proud 80-year-old.
Because the other people...
Ain't nothing wrong with it. Ain't nothing wrong. I just looked at some videos. So what? I enjoyed it. I was like, what the fuck is this? What archetype of human being is this? Just an 80-year-old proud pedophile living in a trailer park in Florida. And by the way, these are the people you tell to vote, like go out and vote. Because there's a lot of people like him that haven't been caught. But like these are the people running around America that we're all supposed to have an endless amount of faith in. Ain't nothing wrong with it. I enjoyed it. Go watch that 60 Minutes thing. It's crazy. It's crazy. And the guy's like, the other people were kind of like, yeah, I should be here. I've done horrible things.
Really trying to change their life and turn it around.
Yeah, well, I mean,
to the
whatever,
extent that they could.
To the extent that they can.
And some people are kind of, I would say, unfairly.
I think they should get him at the Don Caesar so I could get my fucking lobster grilled cheese within an hour and a half because there's nobody working here anymore at this hotel. Apparently, they're saying that the stimulus is out. Nobody is working now because of the stimulus. Nobody wants to make money, and they're probably not paying people here a lot. But they go, nobody wants to take a hourly low-wage job if the stimulus is percolating, which I guess there's some truth to it. I don't know. It also sounds like, well, then offer competitive wages, like offer money to these people,
right?
Like pay them money. But, we know how that works. But they can't work here because it's a hotel with families. Mm-hmm. So you can't staff the kitchen with a bunch of pedophiles, right? I mean, that seems to be the case. But then also nobody's getting a fucking burger.
Right.
So maybe they should make an announcement here and go, hey, listen, we got an idea. You know how it's taking an hour and a half to get any food because there's only one kitchen and nobody's working here? We're going to open a second kitchen of just pedophiles. And let's see, again, we're not going to let them out. They got to stay in the kitchen. They'll all have ankle bracelets on. They're not going to be near you or your family, but they're going to make the lobster grilled cheese. The pedophiles are going to put the lobster in the grilled cheese and put it on a panini press. And we're going to get the food out to you. That's our promise to you. That's all. You want the coconut shrimp? The pedophiles put it in the deep fryer. If you don't want a pedophile making your coconut shrimp, it's an hour and a half. And I think the families would wrestle with that. I would. I think we'd all be sitting on the beach looking at each other going, an hour and a half's a long fucking time because they've only got one kitchen. Somebody goes, yeah, but they got pedophiles in there making the food. I go, hey, man, I'm fucking starving. They're not going to be out running around the hotel. They're just putting a slice of cheese on a burger. But it was a really dark. It's hard. You can't get a job, right? What can you do? What job can you get?
Well, they have to get through. You know more about this, like with parole and everything. They have to get jobs at places, but then apparently, that one guy in the documentary was like, "Oh, my employer is telling my parole officer that I'm a sex offender and I'm a piece of shit, and he's trying to talk me out of getting the job, but I'm supposed to get the job." I guess there's all sorts of it seems tricky. It seems tricky trying to get a job.
I mean, the jobs that like stick out to me, if you are like somebody like that, the jobs that you could get potentially are like president or the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, or you could be a prince. But there's not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a lot of jobs. What was sad about Pedophile Park is that this was the scariest thing, is that as we were driving through it, we're looking at the trailers, and a guy was like outside, like, and you were like, they're smoking something.
Yeah, it looked like a weird pipe. It didn't look like weed. I don't know what it was.
It probably wasn't anything. I mean, it probably wasn't, But what was really crazy is we rolled by like really slowly, and he looked at the car and he's like, "Hey man, big fan." So that's he's like, "Where's the Rothschild episode?" I'm like, "Wait a minute, what?" He goes, "Dude, I pay the money." I'm like, "You pay the money?" We're kidding. But it's tough. What if you live there and you're not a pedophile? Are you allowed to live there and not be a pedophile?
I don't think so. It's like a support program for like pedophiles and stuff. But I don't think there's like a realtor for Perv Park or anything, like showing people homes or something.
But I just think it'd be funny if like you just lived there because you broke and you had no idea. You go, "What's going on here?" Everybody goes, and then like somebody tells you, they go, "Listen, everyone here's a pedophile. What did you do?" You go, "Whoa, I'm broke."
You had no idea.
Dude, I'm fucked up. I'm trying to kick a drug habit and I have no money. No, we're all, it's okay. You can tell me. How old were they? Wait, what? You start flipping out. You're like, "Get me the fuck out of here." It's a very, very tricky situation. It's very, very tough. What are your impressions of Florida? It's your first time here. Now, again, you're not.